Ladies and gentlemen, the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks are going to be in the finals for the first time. The Knicks for the first time since 1999, the Spurs since 2014, and it's a rematch in the 99 finals, and it's going to be great. Totally different team. No one's still playing. What are we talking about here? It's not a rematch. It's just two teams that played each other 27 years ago. But that being said, we got a lot to talk about. Game 7 happened tonight. We're recording right after the game, and we're going to talk about Thunder, the whole ramifications that happens in that franchise, and the walking cardio that is Chet Holmgren, and then also just the Spurs side of everything. And then we're going to do a quick finals breakdown preview. And then also, we'll just say it now, we saw the lottery stuff that got passed this week. We're going to deep dive into that at some point. It's going to be talked about, but my brain was fully towards the playoffs this week, and I want to give you guys the right time and attention towards that topic when it does come. But and honestly, it doesn't even matter for this year's draft because the lottery already was selected. So we'll get into it as we go. But before we get going, before we get into this pod, here are our friends from Green Top. Adam, your San Antonio Spurs are in the finals. Congratulations. Man. It is done. You said it was a grind. And listen, the job's not done. We know that part. No. But boy, oh boy, how does it feel in this moment for the first time in what it is a dozen years that you're back in the finals and your team is back in the finals and almost relevant in its first year back in the playoffs in a long time too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it feels surreal. I mean, it's one of those things, I watched the game at my mom's house with, my girlfriend, my brother Austin, who's been on the podcast, obviously, and I do, Johnson Magic with, and his daughter Willow was running around, watching, high-fiving us and stuff was happening. Just a really fun night. And you draft Wemby and it's like, oh, you have generational talent and all this stuff. And it's like, again, that word's probably overused. But it is kind of one of those things like, okay, if this does work out, this guy could be amazing quickly and it could, go well. But never would I have thought that in just 3 years that they'd be in the NBA Finals. Just incredible, turn of events this last 3 years. Obviously, the drafting of Steph Castle and Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant and all these guys we've kind of added along the way. And then obviously the trade for De'Aaron Fox, which, so happy for him in the game he played tonight because, he takes a beating from even Spurs fans, which is frustrating. But every little piece mattered tonight, right? We'll get into some of the some of the bigger plays in the game, but what makes me so happy is this was a total team effort. This is not like, oh wow, this is led by generational talent just dragging this sorry team to the finals. That's not what this team is. This is a really good 1 through 9, 1 through 8.5 team. So I couldn't be prouder. It's just surreal to be this quickly in the first playoff run. History says, and you and I are both students of the NBA's history, that this does not happen, and you got to go take your lumps. And even the Thunder, had that 1 year at least where they kind of took their lumps against Dallas, but that hasn't happened here. They're just right in the finals, so no, it's incredibly exciting. You're going to be able to hear. I'm sure you can hear it already. There's honking down my street right behind me. We driving back downtown from where my mom lives out north, and we drove past an Academy Sports and Outdoors that the line was wrapped around the building to the right of it. It was so far, it was wrapped around its own building and to the right from people just trying to buy the hats and shirts. So, and that's just the Western Conference Finals one. So imagine what happens if they win. No, it's incredibly exciting. The city's on fire. It's awesome,
dude. It's a crazy experience, I'm sure. And I mean, you've grown up with so much success for this Spurs team. I mean, you've had a lot of generational talent. I mean, you've had 2 top 25 players, top 30 players in your lifetime that have played for the Spurs, and now we're probably adding a third one here.
Yeah,
and it's incredible. And you're right. There is not just Wemby dragging this team, because that's not the case. You have 7 guys in double digits tonight, and they all were very important. I mean, it's the 7 guys who played over 15 minutes, and then you got your Carter Bryant, Luke Cornett, Harrison Barnes minutes in there. But real quick, I mean, to all the guys who are worried about Wemby's minutes, Bill Simmons, you worry about Wemby playing more than 36 minutes, Bill Simmons. It's great to see that he can play 42 minutes and play 40-plus minutes consistently in a playoff series. And I know we've had moments, we've had questions of, his energy levels being high up
Mhm.
and down, but there is no question of emotion. There's no question of heart for this guy, and we saw it at the end of the game. After the game, just immediately just becomes just his emotional self, and that's great. But it's one of those things that you can see the true care and like core the community that this team already has, and he has kind of built it in 3 years. I mean, he has a vet, and he's got vets in Fox and Barnes and guys who've just been there. Castle, and he got Keldon and Vassell, who have been through the trenches with this team since before they got these
Yep.
past 3 picks. And then, the past 4 years, past 4 picks of the past 3 years. Including Carter Bryant. These 4 guys played an important role. Bryant only, what was it, 3 minutes tonight, but it was like you can feel him no matter what when he's on the floor. And I have a comparison for him later as we continue talking. But man, this has been such a fun team. It's such an easy team to cheer for, I think. And I think the NBA
Can you hear
tonight,
that?
I can't hear it. So,
Okay,
you're
it's
laughing
going
and
crazy. Yeah, yeah, I can hear it. Yeah,
that's
constantly. That's awesome.
phenomenal. No, but I think the NBA would have won either way tonight. It was whoever wins this game 7. If the Thunder would have won, you would have had unfortunately, most despised team since the 2010s Warriors, going to the biggest media market like you could have had the showers of boos against SGA and just the next villain of New York coming to town. With the Spurs, you have the hottest. You have the hottest name in Victor Wembanyama, and probably the most lovable the star we have outside of Jokic, going to New York and showing up and be like, "Hey, can you play on this stage? And can you show up when it matters most in the biggest, like the most historic arena in basketball?" And a ticket that's going to cost
Oh,
$35,000 just to
gosh.
get,
Yeah.
not $3,500 just to get into Game 3. I was already looking at it, and man, like I said, the NBA won tonight. No matter who was winning Game 7, the matchup was going to be like the storylines could write themselves, and we have now 4 days to just
Yep.
rip them off. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a team effort, and boy, did we just see it from the 3 past draft picks, and then Fox, the trade that they acquired. And that was just the real changer. Those 4 guys, it felt like, and the guy we haven't mentioned once, Champagny, with 20 points tonight,
Huge.
and just
Huge.
the second leading scorer for the Spurs tonight. And it was felt on every shot he made. It was just important. It was big, and it felt like it only made threes, and it was just, yeah, it was just truly special to watch. Just this team effort from the entire Spurs roster.
It was, and so happy for the guys like Keldon, who's
Yeah.
been there. He gets drafted in 2019. At that point, the Spurs have made the playoffs, 22 years in a row.
Yeah.
And he's thinking like, oh, this will continue, and I just get to be on this team that goes to the playoffs every year. And they did not make the playoffs in his first 6 years, right? So, so cool for him. And he finally had a really huge game, and it hit some huge threes, timely shots. Really awesome to see that, and him get so hyped on the bench, towards the end of the game. Devin Vassell, who's been just so solid all playoffs.
Yeah.
Not a big scoring night tonight, but just big defensive plays, huge rebounds and traffic. That's one thing I thought the Thunder did really well in the first half was the offensive rebounds, and those were just gone in the second half. And then the Spurs started to chase and get a few of their own in the second half, and I thought that really changed the game. What was nice too is even obviously it's a little more stressful when you have a dog in the fight, but it was good to get a close game. It just was like this series was so strange, just kind of back and forth. We had so many nights where we were debating like, do we record? And it's like, I guess let's just wait till it's over. If the Thunder win in 6, we'll just do it after Game 6. And it's like, oh, the Spurs won by 30. It's like it's just kind of this awkward, like this giant pendulum swing of a series. It was nice to have a close game, and I'm sure for you as a neutral, just like this is cool. Like this is good basketball. Like this is good that we actually have this.
I need to apologize to Mark Davis real quick because he deserves my wholehearted apology because I sent a text to this group, to our group chat before the game, and I said, man, the only thing I want is a close game and a fun Game 7 and no injuries. We didn't get the injuries. We had a close game. And I also then finished it off by saying, I just don't want Mark Davis calling the game or officiating the game. Mark Davis has pissed me off enough. And tonight, 1 of 1. This is the best performance I've ever had of Mark Davis, along with Josh Tivins, and then Josh Tivins, and then naked man comparison, John Goble from How I Met Your Mother. Man, they were all great. Honestly, this is
They were.
the kind of officiating we want in any playoff game, and it's not like there was. And I get it. There's a little bit of exhaustion. 7 hard-fought games in this series, so guys are just a little tired, and maybe the aggression's gone down a little bit, but the emotion was still there. The energy was still there from both of these teams. It just sucked because you could see. Let me rephrase this. There was stretches of the games where Evan was texting me Thunder out of it, and the next second it's a 2-point game, and it's just It always just felt like you said the pendulum in this game was just swinging, as we've seen it so much in this series. So it felt like just runs were the story of this entire series, and who could just continuously fight back with another run. And that's why I think we had so many blowouts, because the other team just didn't know how to fight back in some of those scenarios. And so tonight was the example of how well SGA can fight back when he's at the top of his game.
I would say, because there was really only one guy who was kind of keeping it tight. It was SGA. I mean, we'll pull up his line here. I mean, you talk about the balance scoring of the Spurs. I mean, that was the exact opposite. For the Thunder. I think that's one thing that really told in the series was they just kind of ran out of weapons. And obviously we got to talk about J-Dub's injury and AJ Mitchell's injury. Those are huge. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is just Spurs just did it fair and square. It's no, those injuries played a massive role. It is odd that the 2 games Jalen Williams played, they lose both of them. I mean, he just clearly did not look right. It just probably wasn't even wise to play him at all, in hindsight. But I understand, kind of wanted to give him a shot. So yeah, we talk about the Spurs scoring breakdown, which is Wemby with 22, Champagnie with 20, Castle with 16, Fox with 15, Vassell with 11, Harper with 12 off the bench, Keldon Johnson with 11 off the bench. I mean, just incredible. I mean, that's 2014 Spurs right there, right? That is what their box scores looked like. Whereas, for the Thunder, it's 35 for Shea. Next highest score is Case and Wallace with those 2 huge threes late with 17. So a giant gap there. And, Caruso and McCain with a dozen each off the bench. I mean, the guy that we maybe haven't mentioned yet and probably deserves a little 2-minute breakdown of how poorly he played, it's Chet Holmgren, who I thought was, that's about as bad of a Game 7 from a star that, you're ever going to see. That was really, really awful.
I don't want to compare it to the Pippen migraine game, because we have no idea if Chet has a migraine. But the Pippen migraine versus the Pistons game, in Game 7, that those come to head. There's some of those Game 7s that you man, stars didn't show up. This is brutal. Because he's clearly the second best guy. He had been all year for the Thunder. For him to only take 2 shots, 4 free throws along with it. So of course he's still taking more than that, but to have 2 recorded field goal attempts as the second option, you have every other player who played on the Thunder have more shot attempts than you. And I think that's just who's going to get ripped. I also thought of this comparison real quick. Stephen A., who is the best at making nationalized stories feel local. I feel like whenever he does his podcast, he tries to treat any sort of topic like he's talking to the local audience. And making it, and he feels like a local radio host when he's talking about these things. He's going to rip Chet a new one the first thing Monday, and if not tomorrow, if he's probably on the Sunday Sports Center or something tomorrow, he's going to rip him a new one. But you are the guy who, to shoot the least amount of shots on the Thunder roster. He was still impactful defensively, but on the offensive end, it was just non-existent.
Well, and it wasn't even just only taking 2, because there's one thing where it's okay, well, if the Spurs game plan was to take him away, you can kind of understand a guy maybe being a little more passive. I mean, he had tons of looks, and he was just passing them up. It's he was so visibly shook on offense. He would have these catches where it's man, he's got tons of space to get this off.
Yeah.
Or pump fake drive, you can take that little pull up that he's not bad at. And he just wouldn't. He wasn't even looking at the rim. I mean, that's the craziest thing to me is it's one thing if you miss the shots. Hey, you go for 2 for 10, fair enough. That happens. Guys miss shots, but he looked terrified on offense, and even defensively, he had a couple nice plays. Also got dunked on badly early in the game, but it was just a very different performance from him. What, Game 5? Was that his only good game of the series? Really just a poor series all around. But tonight was I'm not normally kind of pile on a guy for a bad performance. I just think this stuff is so there's so many swings, there's so many kind of nuance to individual performances and things like that. But this was genuinely really, really bad.
It was concerning.
It's an all-time bad Game 7 performance from a guy who just made All NBA. That's crazy. It was a really awful performance.
So I'll just say he hasn't had a 20-point game since game 2 of the Lakers series.
Wow.
First red flag. He had a double in game 5, like you said, 16-11, and he
I
had
thought 5. He was really good defensively too in that game.
Yeah, and they won by 13. It was a closer game. He had a double in game 6, but that was a blowout, 10 and 11. And the thing is, Adam, in your off the top of your head, how many games do you think he shot double digit attempts in this series?
Attempts just in this series? Probably only 2. Would be my guess. 3 maybe.
1. Game 2, he had 10 attempts.
Wow.
10.
That's the most field goal attempts he had in any game, and he only did that one time.
Yeah, that 10.
Wow.
And I'm looking at the other series real quick. So like in Phoenix, he had 3 of the 4 games he was over 10 attempts. In the Lakers series, 3 of 4 games he was over 10 attempts. One game he had over 10 attempts.
Wow.
10 or more attempts, and that's the concerning part. And like, it's a mental thing maybe, but he just got big brothered by Wemby this entire series, and you can feel that. And
yeah,
and maybe that's just the other thing too, is just like there is a mental block for no matter. It doesn't matter who it is except for SGA. Like, hey, Wemby's on the floor, we're screwed. Kason Wallace, this is the version that we hadn't seen like since like that Phoenix series. Like, this is the version of Kason Wallace I love. There's this like a fearlessness in him, and he was solid on defense for this. This was like the first time I had been like happy with how Kason Wallace had played defensively since that Sun series. I didn't love how he played against the Lakers. He kind of got beat up in my point. Like Reeves, felt like kept beating him no matter what. This series, it was kind of back and forth. But this was like my favorite game from Kason Wallace in this post.
Yeah, he was great tonight.
And unfortunately, he was probably the second best player on the floor for the team tonight.
No question.
Yeah. Lou Dort in the teens in minutes.
That's the last time we'll see him in a Thunder jersey.
You think?
No question. Yeah, I can't imagine they bring him back.
Can I have
unless it's like a very low number? Like I can't imagine.
You think he's in Detroit?
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, he fits right in. Jeez, that's like improving a strength there. But I just don't. It just doesn't make sense. I think it'd probably be good for him too. Like I think to kind of free him up a little bit. I can't imagine he plays another game with that.
But the other thing is too. Can someone tell me why the other Jalen Williams didn't play more? Like he was such an energy.
I was terrified when he was on the floor. I was like, please. When they played their starting bigs, that's when I felt the most comfortable. Like as a Spurs fan, like I was like, this is great. Like I'm totally content against this lineup. I think we can kill this lineup. I thought Jalen Williams had a great series. I thought he improved his stock, significantly in this series.
It made no sense to me in my head of why they weren't playing him more, because he felt like irrational confidence guy, but like in a good way. Like he had like so much more like, hey, if I'm out here, I'm going to shoot. And tonight, it felt like he wasn't going to miss on a lot of the shots he was taking. There was a confidence in him, and especially even guarding Wemby, or like he was mostly out there like in the non-Wemby minutes, but throughout the series. But tonight, Wemby only doesn't play 6 minutes, and it's like it felt like those 6 minutes. Cornette was out there, Jalen Williams was out there, and he was just kind of busting them. And so it just felt like one of those moments where you're like, there has to be an adjustment, whether it be Chet not playing, whether it be Hartenstein not playing more. I mean, I know he played more than Hartenstein tonight, but still, it felt like kind of take advantage of the guy who is playing well and who is kind of like he was a part of those runs that we saw in the third quarter and also in the second quarter whenever they were down a little bit. He was the reason why they were coming back with. In Kason and SJ, of course, but like he was the big man on the floor during those moments.
No, when 4 of the 5 guys, if they had lineups that had Caruso, Wallace, J. Will, and Shea, and whoever the 5th guy was, like that, those are the ones where I was the most like, man, this is going to create some problems here, like on both sides. Like that's the ones I was the most kind of concerned with. I actually, what's funny? Like obviously J-Dub's a really good player, and he had a great season last year. I really was more worried about Mitchell playing than J-Dub. I think that wouldn't have swung the needle that much in this series, but I think Mitchell really would have, like a fully healthy, like playing really well Mitchell, which would have given them just another creator. I think they really lacked that. Shea had to do so much, especially tonight. It was like he was just exhausted. That last 3 he took that he aired, it's like, I mean, that wasn't a surprise at all. He looked dead. He was the only reason this game was even close. I mean, he really like some of his shot making was like absurd in this game.
Yeah.
Got to the line obviously a few times too, but like just some of the step backs and there was the one kind of like almost like swim over the top that like kind of Katie used to do, just rise up shot. It was just like there's just nothing you can do. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. He's just making ridiculously difficult shots. So I thought he bounced back from his kind of poor game 6 and had really a fantastic game tonight. I thought he played pretty good defense at times too, but he really wore down because there just wasn't another creator on the floor. I mean, there's just so few times where he could kind of give it to somebody, go stand in the corner, and just like take 2 possessions off. He couldn't do that. So, that's a spot that I think they'll look to improve. Is like whether it's just give him more time. Obviously, you hope he stays healthy, or go grab another kind of creator, ball handler type. Because McCain off the ball was a little bit scary. I'll be honest. I mean, dude has no conscience. He just lets it fly. Like he's like out there for one reason and one reason only. But those lineups kind of gave me a little worry too, because it was like there were more kind of gaps to fill. Like it was like there were a little more scramble mode when they had more shooting out there. But Dagnall was just trying everything. I mean, it really in every game he's just constantly shuffling. 2 guys in. It feels like every single break. And they never really kind of played a sustained level with like one really good 5-man unit. I thought that was something that they kind of that's where they like lacked a little bit. I thought their high end talent, like the Spurs A game at this point with those 2 guys out, Mitchell and J-Dub, is just better than the Thunder's A game. Now the Spurs floor is quite a bit lower than the Thunder's floor. They just have some bad performances in this series, but I felt comfortable when I saw how well the Spurs played kind of the first we'll call it 10 minutes of the game. I was like, okay, if they can kind of sustain this level, I feel pretty confident tonight. And they did. They sustained it.
I agree with you about the AJ Mitchell thing. I think when J-Dub's at his best, he's a good secondary playmaker.
He is.
And I think we just hadn't seen that at all this year. And so I understand that thought process. That being said, man, when J-Dub's on it when he's on defense, I worry that, there's the games where Castle had 10, 11 turnovers early on, and he kind of he had rectified that in the most recent games, which was great.
Yes.
I don't think that happens if J-Dub's playing. That's my only counter to that. I think J-Dub is such a better on ball, handsy guy in the best ways. He's not Caruso level of annoying you and maybe fouling you every second he has the defensive stand, but J-Dub's just, it feels like it's more tactical.
Well, and the rebounding is where he would have played a role too. So no, I mean, I don't want. That's more. I'm like, if it's last year's version of J-Dub, then obviously that's terrifying.
Sure.
And AJ Mitchell, but kind of what we saw these playoffs are just. I don't know if that would have made as big of a difference as Mitchell would have if he would have been playing. So specifically, just how the Spurs were guarding them. But man, I don't know. It's like it definitely the Thunder. That was a dragon to slay. It just feels really good to kind of actually get over that hump. I got to be honest. I am in no mood. I don't know if you want to move on to finals preview, but to do the whole this will be easier. It's I have a massive respect for this Knicks team. I think this is going to be a very difficult series.
So here's where we'll start. We'll start finals preview now with this. I don't think as we started the postseason, we had a very clear, man, it feels like the top 3 teams were in the West. And we thought it was the Spurs, the Nuggets, and the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Nuggets lost round 1, so that really knocked out one of our teams that we were about. And then we saw, holy crap, the Knicks lost 2 games to the Hawks. Well, this is they're a mess. They're a mess. And then they swept the next 2 teams they played at them, and it was just
not. They haven't lost since then. They've won 11 in a row.
Correct. Since Game 5 of that Knicks Hawks series, they haven't lost.
Game 3. They lost Game 3. They haven't lost since then. Yeah.
Sorry.
They're down 2-1. They've won 11 in a row.
Thank you. My point is this. I mean, the Knicks have found their groove offensively, and the Spurs haven't played this good of an offensive team in entirety of the playoffs.
No, they have not.
Counterpoint, though. Have the Knicks played this good of a defensive team?
Oh, hell no. Not even
and
close.
My point starts there.
Yeah.
Listen, was I not right about this coming to the Western Conference Finals when I said the exact same thing? The Thunder had not played this good of a defensive team in the Spurs. And I get it. There's a little bit of a difference. The Spurs are not – the Thunder aren't this good offensively as the Knicks are, or the current Knicks are right now. And this Knicks team is on a different level of how efficient they've been. They have ruined the Cavaliers. I think there will be actual ramifications I think there will be massive trades in Cleveland now because of how that series went down. That being said, Also, real quick though, I mean, sorry, back to the trade whole thing now. Did you listen to Simmons yesterday?
Yeah, yeah,
Did you listen to his trade idea of Harden, KD, and LeBron all getting
yeah.
rotated?
The like three.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, obviously that would never happen. But like when you actually kind of mapped it out, you're like, like
Harden ends
it
up
kind
in
of
Houston,
yeah.
KD in LA with the Lakers, and then LeBron to the Cavaliers. You're like,
Yeah, it actually kind of helps each team. It's just that will never happen.
no, never, no one will ever do that. But my point's still being that would be pretty cool. Um, I don't want to do the whole position by position thing. It's just in my head, the best defensive team that the Knicks have played at this point with the Atlanta Hawks, and they played in round one, and they had the right idea and size to go up against the Knicks, or like the speed of guys, like the right collection of guys. Okongwu and like Jalen Johnson were like the good guys, like to kind of guard Cat, cause some little issues. They just didn't have a rebounder really to like fight with them on the boards, and that's what the issue was there. And I feel like that's what's gonna be the Spurs issue too. Is like, can they get like outside of Wemby, who are gonna be the guys that rebound with them? And
Yep.
very curious to see how they do that. Also, is this still? I mean, Champagne tonight feel like he still continues to earn his like spot in the starting lineup, but I'm very curious who's guarding who on both sides of the coin when it comes to that. But I think also, man, I think Champagne is a guy that they're going to try to hunt, like keep Brunson on the entire series, and I am curious how many pick and pops are just going to run with Champagne and like with Harper or Fox or Castle, like how many times are they going to try to put him in the switch and say, hey, decide who you want to get fucked by? Honestly,
Yeah.
it feels like who do you want to get ran over or spun into oblivion? So, but the thing is, teams have tried to do that all postseason, and Brunson stood tall. So it's like
He has.
he has
He has.
he has earned more of my respect, and he is starting to up and up his Quinn Cook test passing. His
Yeah.
grades have continued to rise.
But that's another guy, right? He's not had to guard someone with a level of like force that like Castle plays with. Like that'll be a bit of a challenge. The pace is going to be so interesting in this series. I'm really interested to see like how fast. I think the Spurs should play fast. Like
I mean, the Knicks
I
will play
actually
fast
think,
with them too if they need to.
yeah,
Like when they're getting out and running, that's when the Knicks are great.
yeah,
Their half court offense is also phenomenal. But the I agree with you. If the Spurs can speed them up, I wouldn't want that either way. I think both ways. I think the Knicks can play both ways pretty well offensively too.
they can. I just don't know if the Knicks can guard as well, kind of in transition as they can
Sure.
in the half court. The guy that probably worries me the most for the Knicks is OG Anunoby. That's just like a position, like the kind of big wing, versatile wing. Like the Spurs do just kind of lack that a little bit. There'll maybe be a lot of Keldon Johnson kind of on OG Anunoby. Like I think he'll play more probably in the finals than he did in the conference finals. I could see him having kind of a bigger role. And then what do they do with Hart? Do they play off him? Do they do the Wemby guarding Hart thing and have him just patrol the paint like some of these teams have done? I don't know. Hart's burned a couple teams on that, but over the course of time, is that a better strategy? I don't know. It's certainly not going to be a sweep. I mean, this is kind of the thing that the Knicks I just feel like they haven't even played a real series in a month and a half. It's just like
Right.
they've just blown through these teams. So I mean, they've had multiple 40-point wins. Like it's just a crazy run. So, but yeah, I do think there's going to be this almost kind of shock of like, oh wow, like this is what it's like to play like a contender that's like on our level. Like there's going to be kind of a shock in game one. And obviously, Spurs having home court is certainly valuable. Something they did not have in this last series. Going on the road and winning a game 7 was massive, but having those first two games in San Antonio is huge.
I'm looking back to the second time they played this year back in March, and that was the game we were all very excited about, and then it just ended up getting a blowout by the
And they
Knicks.
smoked them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was a Mikal Bridges game, and it was a
Yep.
game where he kind of lit up the Knicks. I mean, lit up the Spurs pretty well, and so did Brunson. He had a solid game too. You're right. There's the level of like physical force that Castle can drive with, and he's seen like the speed of Maxey and the speed of Mitchell against him, and Mitchell kind of slowed down, just possibly with injury. Um, and I'm trying to think back. I think Jalen Johnson probably tried a little bit too, but it's different with Castle, and I'm very curious to see how they kind of play that. But man, the Knicks have just adjusted so well to every team they've played when they play defense. And who is the best offensive team the Knicks have played so far in this postseason? Is it probably the Cavs? And
Yeah.
is it sad to say it's the Cavs because they
Yeah.
have
That is sad.
a
Yeah.
and I don't want to like discredit them because they've played the Hawks series was a competitive series. The Sixers one was like, what the fuck are we doing with Joel Embiid still playing on the court? And then it was kind of same thing with like, man, how healthy is Donovan Mitchell? But I don't want to discredit by the fact that they've kind of just beat up every team they've played. It's not been like there have been very few close games, like games that you didn't think the Knicks were going to win. And I think that's the difference with like some of these series is like, man, there's injured guys, there's guys who aren't shooting well, and the Knicks just ended up, yeah, sure, whatever. But they've also just pounded everyone they've played. It's not like they were like
squeaking by. Yeah, no, that's what's so impressive is like they're just destroying these teams.
Game
this is
one,
not like except game 1 against Cleveland. That's the only close game they've played since game 4 against Atlanta. That was like maybe the other close game they've played. Like, I mean, they're just that's what's so impressive to me is like these aren't even contests. Like these are just like, they just go on these massive runs in the first half and it's just over. I mean, that's what's so impressive to me. Is like it's one thing if you kind of scrape by because even your Celtics team in 2024, which was a great team, they were playing close games. Like even in that sweep against Indiana, I mean, those are like tight. Jaylen Brown with a buzzer to force overtime. Like those were good close games. I mean, they're not even giving them a chance. I mean, this is just 40. I mean, just like game over. Yeah. It's crazy, and the ball is just zipping around. That's what's so impressive to me is the ball movement. I think this series will look a lot different than the OKC series. I think the OKC series I was talking about this with somebody. It got so the officiating and all that stuff around it was so such a big thing, and both teams are so good defensively that it really turned into a lot of kind of ISOs and like kind of one pass possessions. It really wasn't that beautiful to watch. Like it wasn't like this just awesome, just like free flowing basketball. I think the finals actually will look cleaner. Like I think both teams, they're just going to kind of play a different style. It won't really be in the mud, I don't think. I think the basketball will look more appealing to just like a neutral than that Thunder and Spurs series was. Because that really wasn't like, look, I'm obviously, from San Antonio, I'm a Spurs fan, but that was not a classic series. Like that, the game 7 was good. Game 1 was incredible. Outside of that, though, it really was not a very good series. Kind of just like for the neutral. Like I know it went 7, but that's not one I'd like put on an all-time list or anything. No, whereas I actually do think this finals could be like that.
So I agree with you about game 1, game 7. I also really liked game 5. I mean, it was closer in like,
it was,
and I know the Thunder one. So I mean, it was just a little.
Yeah, it was just such a frustrating. I think the Spurs kind of left so much on the table in that game, like
just and the refs and
immature fouling, and it just was like it was such a grind. It was just like such a kind of a parade to the line for both. And that's not a complaint. Like, oh, the refs screwed the Spurs. That's not what I'm saying. It was just dumb. I mean, it was just a dumb performance from like a young team. But it was at least close. At least it was like a competitive game.
And I thought it showed the in series growth of the Spurs. I think that was the difference too. I think that's important for what happens in game 6 and of course in game 7. I think it kind of tells the story of the series. So I went back. I'm looking right now. It was game 1 of the Sixers series. They won by 39. Then it was a close game 2. They won by 6. Game 3 they won by 14. Game 4 they won by 30. Game 1 of the Cavs series, they were down by, what was it, 22?
22 with 7 minutes left.
Correct. Came back and won by 11 in overtime.
yeah.
11, whatever.
Yeah, they just had these bursts where it's like what the heck just happened? Yeah, it's like 30-2 run. Yeah, it's just like that. They've had multiple runs like that. It's been incredibly impressive. So I think if there's any Spurs fans who are thinking like this is going to be, we slayed the dragon, this is going to be the easy one, I think you're sorely mistaken. This is going to be a very different series.
Absolutely agree. I was the one who had said before the conference finals started that we were seeing basically the finals with Thunder and Spurs. And in moments you're like, yeah, these are probably the 2 best teams. But don't count out the Knicks with how well they're playing and how kind of well rested they're going to be for.
Yeah, that's a big that cumulative fatigue over time. Probably affect an older team more than it would this young Spurs team, but it does matter, right? That's huge. There's so many less minutes on the Knicks players' legs because even in the games they've played, the Stars don't even play in the fourth quarter because they're up by 40. It's like so even in the ones they've played, I mean they've just kept their minutes down. It's been that's a huge advantage for New York. That's going to really tell, I think, at some point in the series. Absolutely. Maybe not in game 1, but it'll tell at some point.
So here's my thought. Here's just my prediction of it. I think Spurs are going to take game 1 back home. And they're just riding high still off this game 7 win. I think they'll split, though, in San Antonio. I
kind of do, too.
I think Knicks will take game 2 and 3 back in New York. Actually, you know what? it might go back and forth for the first four.
Just an alternating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Wemby's first game in Madison Square Garden is going to be electric, and I think that will be like that first game in Madison is going to be like the historic game that we all
that
look.
is going to be just the noise. I'm so excited. That's going to be so fun to watch. The hype and just like the build up and the streets of Manhattan just filled with Knicks fans. That's gonna be so cool. This is good for the league, man. I think the league kind of needed this. Like I think the league kind of needed like a good story and like a fun Knicks team in the finals. They've taken a lot of hits this year, and I've been critical of some of the things, but ultimately, I mean, I love this sport and this league. Like I want it to do well. This is good. I think this is this is a real positive that they have a Knicks team playing this well. That's this fun to watch. That plays this good at basketball in the finals against this like all world star in Victor Wembanyama. It's so exciting.
Well, and it's a team that everyone like has of the 21st century has a recognition of. Hey, this is a team that's won a few titles in the 21st century in the Spurs, and on the other side of things, like it's the biggest market we have like in sports in the Knicks, and they haven't been this relevant in this century.
Yeah,
Like this is the most relevant they've been in like 30 years almost. And like that 99 series is whatever. Honestly, they had better teams in like the mid 90s that were far better than that 99 team,
sure.
but like and more important to the sport of basketball than that 99 team. They haven't won a title, Adam, in, hold on, 53 years.
Yes.
It's like the 85 Bears who just like to soak in as much as they can and like milk the last bits of any title they can. I think this is going to be, just a super fun series. I think, like I said, game 3 is going to be the one we all look back and like, shit. So this week is crazy for me. Game 1's on Wednesday, and I'll be fine for that. Game 2 is Friday night, and I'm moving Friday morning. And I told my wife is getting invited out to go out, hang out with some friends, and I got invited to go out to dinner with some guys. I said, my excuse was, man, I'm moving. I'm going to just be setting up all my stuff. AKA, I'm setting up my TV and my Wi-Fi so that way I can watch.
That's the first thing. Yeah,
Way I can. Well, it's a 3-mile move, but let me tell you, in Chicago, 3 miles is 35 minutes, and so that's just a total blast. But it's a 9 a.m. move, so I'm like, I got to make sure everything's good and perfect to go, and then I'll be fine Friday night to watch this game. First thing I'm doing Thursday night is setting up the Wi-Fi so that way I'm good Friday. So that's my joy. This is going to be such a fun series. I'm very excited about it. And my Carter Bryant comparison for you. Is he a young OG Anunoby?
I like that.
I think there is there's the defense and the size is there already to compare. And like he only can get stronger. He's got a shot that he's getting better at. And that's what
OG, offensively. Yeah.
OG wasn't like, he was an attacker of the rim like Carter Bryant, but he didn't have the mid-range to start. He had a little bit of a jumper to start his career, but like it wasn't there totally. Carter's working on it. I'm telling you, Carter Bryant's archetype is just the next OG Anunoby.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, OG Anunoby, he was hurt for the finals, but on a title team early in his career.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the case with Carter Bryant. And like later when it's like one of those guys you look back at that roster, you're like, shit, OG was on that team too. That's crazy. Like obviously he didn't play in the finals, but I like that. I actually like that comparison. I will before we kind of wrap up. Like I have to give a shout out to a couple like just plays tonight. The Luke Cornett chase down block,
dude.
I mean,
unbelievable. I could have a little gasm about Luke Cornett in his like 6 minutes he played, but man, I loved it.
Massive. I mean, he comes back in the game because Wemby gets his 5th foul. I actually think that was going to be the rotation anyway. I think they were going to give Wemby a little rest in the middle of the 4th quarter. He gets his 5th foul. Wemby's 4th and 5th fouls were just kind of dumb. I mean, just not very smart fouls. You can't put yourself in those positions. They were absolutely fouls. Goes to the bench, and the first play that Cornett's in, I can't remember. I think it's Dylan Harper that throws out just like lazy entry pass. Yeah. Hartenstein picks it off. He's like going to length of the floor. Hartenstein did slow down a little bit. That was a little bit odd. He does kind of like slow his dribble. It was like, is he going to like get there? And Luke Cornett, that's the fastest I've ever seen him move. He's just like hauling. You just see him. He times up and pins it on the backboard. Like a LeBron-esque like backboard pin to save a play. Spurs get the rebound, go the other way, end up scoring on the possession. I mean, just a massive swing. Would have cut it to 4. It ends up being an 8-point game. That will be, if the Spurs are going to win this for sure, but like just the fact that they won this game, that's like an all-time Spurs moment. Yeah, we went crazy when he got that because it was just you could just feel it. It was like, God, they're gonna let the Thunder right back in this game. And yeah, just incredible play, Luke Cornett. He played like a minute in that stretch. Like he played like one or two more possessions, and then that was it. And he was done
No,
for the game.
he does that. He does those.
Awesome.
He has those short spurts, and you're like, shit, man,
Yeah.
you kind of got it, and and you saw it most of this season too. Like especially when
Yep.
Wemby got hurt, like early on, it's like you needed a guy like Cornette this season,
Yep.
and for him to like, of course, his load's going to be less in a game 7, but like for him to know, hey, my impact is going to be great. It is going to need to be great when Wemby's off the floor, and for him to just, you're right. I've watched Cornette probably more than you have in his entire career because of just his little bit time in Boston. I've never seen him run that fast. But when
Shocking.
you know what? I take it back. He had one dunk that he ran back fast, back down the floor fast, like
after he dunked it. Yeah.
it's the robot arms run that he had. That was the only time I've ever seen him run that fast, and it's pretty incredible. But what other plays did you have that you want
to the very last play. So like they Thunder down 6, Case and Wallace makes it close. It looked like the Spurs had it. It was like kind of 3 minutes left. And you're like, okay. Also, how strange that Dagnall took his last time out with 4.5 minutes left. That was very strange.
I didn't. Here's the thing, SJ needed a rest.
He did.
To be honest, that's what he was doing. Like he was like, man, do I just let my star die out there, or do I give him like this break and be like, hey, are you good to go for 4 more minutes? And I think that's the battle he had inside.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that just changes the math on the stretch, especially. I mean, just you have no way to advance the ball. It's tough. But so Thunder down 6, they get that. I mean, that stupid inbound pass. I think it was Castle that Dort picked off. It's like you have the biggest target in the history of basketball. Like, just throw it up to him, and he underthrows the pass. He underthrows the pass. Dort picks it off, and I'm like, man, they're gonna let them right back in this game. But they just look so exhausted. They couldn't even get threes off. So obviously they missed that last one. They throw it down to Vassell, and it's like clearly the Thunder are not going to foul. And Vassell just 2-hand, boom, just exclamation point. I loved that. I thought that was actually awesome because it was one of those plays. I thought it was like a little bit different than that McDaniels one where it's like someone's like walking it, like that kind of toss ahead. Yeah. It's like it's so clearly like over. They're not going to foul. Yeah, I mean maybe I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth with that, but I thought that was actually really awesome. Just to kind of like exclamation point, throw it down, game over. Series over. We're going to the finals, and just for a guy like that again, who's been there for 5 years and had to suffer, 2 of the worst seasons in franchise history. I think it's just a pretty cool moment that he got to kind of like be the one that capped it.
No, you had said it like this probably wasn't Vassell. This was probably Vassell's worst game of the series offensively, but the block he had on Chet in Game 6.
Oh my gosh, the push and then the stare down, which I can't believe he can get teed up for. But
dude, I'm shocked he didn't get tossed for. Like, I mean, listen, like, wow. I've seen guys get tossed for less. I've seen Rasheed Wallace get tossed in a game because he just stared at a ref. I mean,
yeah. That was awesome though. Now that is another one where it's like I'm, all of my Spurs kind of buddies are texting me like, "Let's go, DV." It's just like that was a really cool play. And again, another guy who just deserves it. But it's such a fun team, man.
Yeah, this has been a fun team, and I think Evan has texted me. I was going to have him come on if the Thunder ended up winning, and early on, he's like, "I ain't coming on." He's like, he's like, "I can't do this, man." He's like, And I texted him after. I'm like, "Hey, just hope you're doing all right." He's like, "I am texting in this group chat. I tap like I'm okay." He's like, "I'm not." He's like, "I'm not okay." So, Ev, I'm sorry, I'm calling you out here on the pod now, but no, I love you. But yeah, I was over with my former co-host watching the game, and just to see how, listen, this is a guy who watches only like one team now in the Bulls, and he kind of has to. And for him to be as into it as he was tonight, I was very happy and also kind of slightly shocked. But it was like one of those moments where he's yelling at Castle. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like at the end of the game, and
crazy.
Yeah, he also, I think, has a little love for Kason Wallace too, and I think tonight was just the perfect night to watch him play.
Yeah, well, and I should mention Dylan Harper too. I mean, just some gigantic shots in the fourth quarter. The little step back 3. I mean, he just, Harper, man, the putback, the offensive rebound putback, that was just a huge play. I just everybody chipped in. Everybody that played, played some kind of role tonight. And I think that's kind of a testament to what kind of team it is. And Mitch Johnson, got to give him a shout out too. First full year as a head coach, and you're going to the finals. I mean, pretty cool.
Yeah, me and you being a head coach is kind of pretty fun. Wait, sorry.
Yeah, a combination of us. Yes.
For the 5th straight year, in the 5 years the Hoopers Almanac have had a show, we will have one of our teams in the finals, whether it's
Incredible.
the Celtics, Nuggets, Spurs, Thunder, and we're adding the Bulls now to our collection. The one of our teams will be in the finals. Which, listen, talk about luck. Hey, if you want to join this podcast network, if you want to join our group chat, that we will guarantee you a team. One of your teams will be in the finals.
Yes,
Uh,
at some point in the next few years. Yes.
yes. Only one team one of ours has not won, 22 Celtics, but ever since then we've had a winner. So very very excited. Real quick to wrap this pod up, we did see the draft lottery thing got passed, and we kind of talked about it. I talked about it during the intro. I don't know fully the extent of it. I like the fact that they might be showing lottery balls instead of on the television rather than having them just show the cards. Because I think the NHL's got that right. I think the
Yep.
NHL has that right with that thing. And Adam, as a guy who's been anti-draft for God knows how long, thoughts? I mean, just initial thoughts on this like new idea.
It's a big improvement on what we have now.
Correct.
I am curious to see how it plays out in some different, formats. There are some spots where it's like, does it make sense to kind of fall out of that and kind of go into that little space here or whatever? But I love the idea of the relegation zone. I can't stand rewarding incompetence. So, and obviously, and even though it's helped, obviously, the team that I root for, I still think that's crazy. It's like, oh, you're terrible here. Take a, great player. And I still think it's crazy that the players themselves have no say in where they go. But, I like it. It's a step in the right direction. They're never going to get rid of the draft. I know that's what I want to do, but they're never going to do that. So if we're going to keep the draft, I do like that at least we are incentivizing teams to not lose games on purpose. Like that's just like crazy that we've gotten used to that. But it's like when you really break that down, that's absolutely insane that we just reward that. So it is a step in the right direction. But yeah, we'll break it down further probably in the offseason when we really get a handle on like what it'll look like. And maybe we can do a couple like kind of mock like, hey, this is what this would look like now, with these current like what the teams would have been this year. That's maybe a good project for us to do. But yeah, a step in the right direction, I'd say.
I agree. Prediction, NBA Finals prediction. I'll start because my team's not in it. Listen, it's not going to be a sweep by either team. I think that's fair to say. No. I think we're calling each other. We're going to be recording. Hold on, I want to make sure I have this day right because I had it pulled up right. I think you and I are going to be talking. We said probably you want to do. Well, we'll probably do game after game 3, which is Monday.
That's what I figured. Yeah, game 3. But
I think we'll be calling each other Tuesday night, June 16th after game 6, and you're going to be possibly emotional because your Spurs have won in 6 games. I have a really strong feeling that the Spurs are going to win this thing in 6. You ready for the average ticket prices for the 7 games? Sorry, for the cheapest ticket to get in. Sorry, cheapest ticket to get in.
I already looked at San Antonio. I know it's a lot. What's New York?
So San Antonio first 2 games are $1,500 basically to get in.
I thought even higher than that. I looked about an hour ago.
Okay. Monday, game 3 in New York is $4,000.
Cheapest ticket.
Cheapest ticket. Wednesday, game 4. Wednesday, June 10th, game 4, $3,800. Game 5 back in San Antonio, $1,500. Game 6 in New York, which I think is going to be under $5,000. That's ridiculous.
Last row.
And then I know. And then game 7 in San Antonio, they have it at $4,400. So we're tripling the price, doubling the price of these tickets. So crazy,
nuts,
crazy. All right, so I have Spurs in 6.
I'll go Spurs in 7.
Okay. Ended back in San Antonio.
Yep, and I will be probably I'll have to tell you off mic what I'm doing, but I will probably be in Seattle during Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Are you going to the World Cup? You bitch.
I believe so.
You bitch. Okay. Are you going to do Houston and Seattle?
Yes, and maybe one more.
Oh, whatever, dude. Whatever, man. I got you traveling the country. I got Aaron going to Taipei for his fiance's job. I got like some people traveling during the World Cup, and I'm just whatever. Which other thing is, I will have news for everyone in like a week, whatever we record on that Monday after Game 3. personal news, but it's news that I'm going to share. We're finally going to share with the world. Not
Love
that anyone more than like 50 people listen to it, but it's just like, hey,
Hey, it's all right.
hey. Thanks everyone for listening. We are super excited. NBA finals are just usually a blast. There's some blowouts and there's some disgusting finals that we've had. I think we got blessed last year with a phenomenal finals between the Thunder and the Pacers.
We did.
2 years it kind of sucked. Celtics kind of beat up on the Mavs and showed Luka doesn't play defense.
The Nuggets kind of beat up on the Heat too. That was not a real fun one.
And listen, I don't like to think about 22, so we skipped that one. 21 and
as a neutral, that one was pretty fun.
No, I get that. It sucked for me.
Yeah.
That being said, I think we've had, and since the start of the 2020s, we've had two great finals in both last year with the Thunder and the Pacers, and then the Bucks and the Suns. I think we got lucked out, and I think we're 2 of 6, one of every 3. And then the other ones have been like solid, I guess, and you can add the 22 finals in there too. So we're like almost 50%.
Yeah.
I think we should just be really. I'm confident in saying that we're going to add to the good column in this finals.
I think so too.
But before we get there, we'll see how it goes in these first 3 games. Like we said, we'll probably be back after game 3. If something crazy happens in these first 2 games, we might be back too.
Maybe
you might just have a solo pod with me one Wednesday night, or I might just call an Adam and be like, "Yo, we're talking game 1." But until then, everyone have a great rest of your week. Go Spurs. I'm not even going to say my team. They're pissing me off right now. Go Spurs. Go Knicks, I guess. But, man, enjoy your week, y'all. Enjoy the NBA Finals as they start on Wednesday night. And be sad that we will have to deal with a crappy pregame, halftime, and postgame show. Yeah. Have a good one, y'all.